And this is where I'm just like, I feel like Nikki really rides the line when it comes to dealing with Antonio, because Antonio thinks that Annie is full of BS, that Annie is here for the green card. And Nikki's like, yeah, she is here for the green card, but she's a hardworking woman and she's going to do what she needs to do to take care of her family, and that Annie is here to take care of her family in Thailand, and that's what she's trying to do. I do think it's so naive for Antonio to say that, like, or to believe that somehow Annie has to 100% love every single moment and everything about David in order for her love and her choice to come here to be valid. It doesn't have to be that. American women marry rich men all the time just because they meet the bare minimum of what they can sleep with and what they can tolerate. Sometimes him having enough money to support you and your lifestyle, or the lifestyle you would like to lead, is enough. So then they go in a little bit about Antonio and David's argument, and Antonio is saying how he spared David, and like, oh, I can't even talk about it. So they're asking if they think that David would cheat because he cheated on his ex-wife. Nikki says that she doesn't think that he would cheat on her in the States because nobody wants him in the States. Shade. And then she's like, but if they were back in Asia, yeah, he could. He would have the opportunity because he's a foreigner, and, you know, Asian women love foreigners there. So, yeah. So then Chris makes an offer that makes me and Molly both very uncomfortable, and offers Annie $10,000 right now to go back to Asia, go back to Thailand, take that money and run. Leave David. She doesn't owe anybody anything, and she could just bounce. That's 350,000 baht. She could go home with that. And there's this dramatic pause. I don't know if Annie doesn't understand what's going on. I don't know if it's editing, but then they cut to commercial, and when they come back, Annie's like, no, I'm here for David. I want to stay with David. I love him. You know, like, I don't take any amount, not even $1 million. And that's when I'm like, I call a liar. If Chris were to offer her $1 million right now, Annie would be like, I'm out. I would be like, I'm out too. I would go wherever. Not even from Thailand. I go back to Thailand with $1 million. $10,000 is not enough to go back. I mean, if he offered her $50,000, she might really consider it. So then we move on to Molly and Olivia. So at this point, we don't know where Luis is. So they have Molly sitting on the couch and Olivia sitting next to her. I think Molly's outfit is super cute. Her shoes are cute. I think Olivia's cute too. I think their whole outfits, I'm just feeling the whole entire situation. Thank you guys. Thank you ladies for showing up. Sean asks Olivia how she feels about social media, talking about her, and she's like, you know, nobody knows the situation. My mom lied to me. You know, if anyone is in my exact situation and their mother does this to them, then we can have a conversation, but otherwise it's not worth having. She's absolutely right. I don't necessarily think that Olivia is super rude to her mom. I think that's their relationship. I think they have that close-knit mother-daughter, friend, sister relationship. So Olivia was just like, you know, the reason why she felt the way she felt was because it felt like Molly was just talking about Luis all the time, and it just felt like all of a sudden Molly had a new thing and it wasn't her girls, it was Luis, and she just felt pushed aside. And Molly apologizes and said that she handled that entire situation very poorly. She handled Luis coming into their lives very, very poorly because she was so excited about finally finding someone to marry and, you know, finding someone that she thought she could be with forever. Molly tries to claim that the reason why she didn't tell Olivia about the marriage was because she didn't want to squash Olivia's dreams of being in the wedding. Olivia rolls her eyes and is like, I never wanted to be in the wedding. I don't care about the wedding. Like, I didn't want the wedding to happen. So that's not one of my dreams. She basically is like, Mom, stop sitting up here lying. You didn't tell me because you knew I'd be pissed, not because you thought I would be mad about not being a part of the wedding. Finally, Sean introduces the fact that Luis is there. So Luis comes out and Olivia moves over because producers have said that that's where Luis is going to sit, in between Molly and Olivia. And Luis decides that because he hasn't heard any of the conversation thus far, that he's not going to sit next to Molly and make it super awkward and sit on the opposite side. And even when they say, oh no, Luis, you're supposed to sit over here next to Molly, he's like, no, I'm okay. No, there's plenty of room right here on this couch. I'm going to sit over here. I don't know what you guys have been talking about, so I'm going to sit on my side. And you're just like, damn, Luis, like, why do you have to be so immature? Molly is like confused because she's like, I thought we were okay. Like, this is the big reveal that we're okay and that, you know, we've talked about it and you moved back in, and he just makes a fool of her again. And it's just so sad. Sean asks who called who. Olivia's like, it's probably my mom. Molly's like, I don't remember who called me. I don't know what happened. I do know that Luis is not about to get divorced. He doesn't believe in a light divorce, so we're going to try to work it out. And we've talked, but I haven't gotten rid of my masks, my Buddha, and all the things because I feel like if I get rid of them, I'm giving into this idea that he's correct. My painting, my masks, my Buddhas aren't going to come down. So if that's what you want, it's not gonna happen, because I'm not giving into this idea that that's what that means. It does not mean witchcraft. So when Sean asks, like, Luis, so what was this situation really about? Olivia points to herself and she's like, me. And then in Spanish, Luis says, oh, Olivia's sneaky. She's sneaky. So like there's still some drama between Olivia and Luis, so this isn't over yet. So then it goes to commercial, and when it comes back, the entire cast is out, and Sean asks some questions to the entire cast. She brings up the fact that Andre called Luis a punk. Spanish David steps in and says, hey, you're behaving very immaturely. You know, you're the reason why it seems that Americans don't trust foreigners coming to the United States, because of the way you're behaving. And Andre is like, yeah, you know, like that's why they are always talking mess about foreigners, because of situations like this where from the outside it looks like you're tricking Molly. It doesn't look like you love her. You need to do what you need to do to show that you love her and you're really here for her, and that means taking in her family and being the man that you need to be. And he's like, yeah, I understand. He says to David, look, I completely understand, and I know that I need to change my ways, and I'm working on it. I'm working on being more mature. And so that's all you can ask from Luis, really, you know? He's like, you know, she asked me to come back, so I came back, like, done. Molly then says that, you know, she never thought that Luis was tricking her. She always felt that it was genuine love between the two of them. Then, so that Nicole isn't the only one that's the a-hole, she decides to swill spit around in her mouth and say some comment about Molly, and was like, you know, if it were my daughter, I wouldn't want Azan to talk to May that way, or to say whatever to May. And Molly is just like, okay, so since you brought my daughter into this, let's talk about your daughter. So you're the one who took your 2-year-old daughter to Morocco to be with a man that she barely knows. Like, I know Molly wanted to go in on Nicole, but she held back a little bit, because she was like, you don't have the space to even speak about anyone else's relationship when what you're doing is ridiculous. I mean, Molly is a little crazy for bringing Luis around her 6-year-old, but it's a hell of a lot different than what Nicole is doing with May and Azan. Molly was like, no, little girl, no, you don't come over here on this side. It's the big girl's game. You're over there playing real dumb games over there, spending people's money. I'm spending my own money on this. So how much money did you, where'd you get the money to sponsor? Because doesn't it cost X amount of dollars? You don't even have that money. So like, what are you even talking about? It was great. I think Molly handled herself very well, and I trust Molly, even though I know that I feel like she's made a couple little mistakes around the band, but like, you know, I still love her. I still love her. So then we go to Josh and Ika, and the conversation of kids come up, and everyone is like, oh, you should love him regardless. It doesn't matter if you don't have kids or not. David decides he's gonna pop up and start talking about anybody's kids, which he doesn't have the room to talk about anybody's kids ever in any lifetime. He's gonna tell Ika that it shouldn't matter. Somebody else also said to Ika that it shouldn't matter if they don't have kids or not. And Ika's like, you don't understand, it does matter. If that's what it's important to her to have kids, then it's important for her to have kids. Like, this is again Western ideology of what marriage is. Like, some women want children, and they only feel that they can have children if they're in a marriage. And so it really doesn't matter who the man is. They're gonna tolerate the man. They're gonna love him and give him the best that they can, based on the fact that they want to be stable and have kids, and that's what Ika wants. And so she's like, look, if he doesn't want to have kids, then this marriage is not gonna work. And it's silly to act like she's the only woman who's ever felt that. Even if there's some men who feel like that way. There are some men who are with women, love women, marry women, and when the woman can't have a child, the marriage dissolves because they don't want to adopt. They want to have an actual kid of their own. It happens. So why is it bad that Ika is feeling that way? So then talk about kids with Annie and David. So then Annie is like, I don't understand why Ashley's so upset. Annie, to me, is being insensitive in this moment, but she's 22 or 24 or 25, however old she is. So in her mind, it's like, he's already done with that lifetime. This is our lifetime. And David already made some comment in the last episode saying that this is the happiest time of his life. Like, I guess he didn't have any other happy times back when he was married to his first wife and had his other 2 kids. This moment right now with Annie is the happiest time of his life. So he's just basically pooping on all that other stuff and just looking towards the future. And Annie is like, Ashley is not my daughter, it's David's daughter. Ashley is not my concern. This is my concern right now with David, and I want to have kids with David, and, you know, maybe not in America because I don't like the way American kids talk to their parents. And then Ika's gonna chime in and say, oh, they're very disrespectful. And again, I'm just like, you guys are silly. Like, the only American kids that are disrespectful to their parents are parents who allow it to happen. And then Andre and Elizabeth talk about having kids, and Andre's like, oh, maybe in a year. And Elizabeth's like, no, maybe in 2 years, 3 years. Like, I'm not ready to have kids. He's like, you're the one who brought it up. Like, no. Megan, her sister-in-law, and her sister Becky come on, and they're via Skype, and they try to clear up some stuff, but it's just boring. And it's just like boring. Like, they're basically saying that, you know, Elizabeth's given up her ways and Andre is in control. And it's just like, no, it's not, girl. Libby knows what she wants. She finally found her masculine man. You know, some things they make decisions on. Sometimes she just concedes and gives him what he wants. Let go and let Andre, you know what I'm saying? He's a chauvinist. We all know this. But he's like, yeah, she's mature. She's an adult. She understands that, like, you know, I make decisions. That's not what he says, but to me, that's the sentiment behind it. Well, so then we move on to David and Evelyn. They talk about, you know, their sex life, kinda, and how David clears up a couple things about how the reason why he didn't want to talk about it is because he grew up in a very conservative private family, and it was a shock having to come to the States and deal with her family who was like talking about, you know, their sex lives at the breakfast table, and he was worried that Evelyn was going to keep up with that, and like, you know, the day after their wedding, wake up and then like over dinner tell her parents about how the sex was, and he just didn't want that, and so he just was uncomfortable with it. And that makes sense. And I'm just like, I don't actually care about you guys this first night. So that's the end of Evelyn and David. So now we go back to Azan and Nicole. They try to see if they can reach Azan. They don't. Everyone chimes in about how Nicole should feel about Azan. Azan is a no-show. Nicole is crying because she just wants him to be there. And they've been through so much together, so much over the 8 months they've been together. So much, you know, so it's like, it feels disrespectful. Even Annie is like, he could send a message, he could say hi. Josh is just like, it's just weird that he didn't comment and you haven't heard from him in 3 days, and this kind of speaks to who he is and how he's going to behave when he gets here. Robert tries to make things better by saying, look, if Azan gets here, we'll treat him and support him just the way we treat you and support you. And I'm just like, you're enabling her again. You're enabling. And I think everyone just feels very, very bad for Nicole. I don't feel bad for Nicole. I'm just like, wake up. All right, you guys, so that is the end of the tell all, you guys. Let me know if you have anything to say that I missed about this episode. It tied everything up for me. I really enjoyed the David and Annie storyline, even though it upset me the most. To me, they had the best, most interesting storyline. I want to comprise a list of top 10 scenes or top 10 things that happened in this season of 90 Day Fiance. So if you have some like wow moments or some like disgusted moments or some like whatever moments that you would like to let me know, I'm gonna comprise a list and talk about them and see, you know, where we were when it happened and how we feel now about it. All right, that is the end of this, you guys. Thank you so much, you guys, for coming on this 90 Day Fiance journey with me. I mean, you guys are awesome. Please join the Facebook group if you guys want to continue talking about 90 Day Fiance. I haven't decided what I'm going to talk about next. I was thinking about doing The Bachelor, but I'm really worried it's going to be boring. It's going to start next week, I believe, January 1st. So I'm going to record that episode and see if I like it. Do I do it just because I think people want to watch it? Do I do it because I want to watch it? Like, why would I do it? I also want to see Love After Lockup, which seems like a really interesting show about people who have been in relationships with people who are in jail, and finally the people who are in jail are released and what their relationship is like within the first couple months of them coming out of prison. That sounds like an interesting reality show. So there's a lot to think about. Join the Facebook group, follow me on Snapchat, let me know what your top 10 moments of season 5 was. Let me know what reality show you think I should review / recap for the new year. 2018, you guys, we are coming in strong. We are doing this. This YouTube channel is going to another level with your help. All right, have a fantastic day. Bye. It is 4:33 a.m. and I just came back from work and I realized that I forgot to talk about Annie's comment to Chris. It was like, oh, you want Thai massage? Oh, you want happy ending too? Girl, we were all thinking it.